Okay, let us again start from the beginning. So, uh, hello everyone, I'm Ankita. Today we are going to cover the custom workforce planning. So the workforce planning is the process of analyzing existing employees and planning for future staffing requirements through talent gap assessment, developing employee management procedures, and setting recruitment strategies. Then it requires developing an appropriate and cost-effective strategy for retaining, recruiting, and training your workforce while also continually assessing correct workforce size in the business. It should not be overstaffed or understaffed. It should in accordance with the demands. Then the second criteria is adequate skill sets. There should be a right mix of skills, capabilities, knowledge, and experience to perform effectively and achieve the organizational goals. The third criteria is the budget. There should be an optimal staffing expenditure in an organization to achieve the high return on investment from the employees and maximize the profits. Then the last criteria is our flexibility. Developing our workforce to be agile and adapt quickly when changes in the market occurs to keep the functioning of the organization effective. The goal of the workforce planning is to create a strategy for staffing needs that ensures achievement of strategic objectives both now and in the future. Now comes the benefit of the workforce planning. So there are many benefits as we can see in the workforce planning. The first benefit is preparing for the future. So the key benefit is that it creates a long-term recruit before it impact business goals. For example, what is the average churn rate across the each department? How can we introduce processes to maintain workflow? How many employees are retiring this quarter and how would they affect the operations? So armed with this information, we can improve business planning and financial forecast by predicting talent requirements to meet both long-term and the short-term organizational goals. Am I clearly audible? Okay, so now our fifth benefit is the improved recruitment processes. So the analytics can outline the trait, skills and characteristics of high performing employees. We can use this hiring criteria to find candidates more likely to suit business goals and cultures. Then our next benefit is aligning HR processes with business strategy. The best way to strengthen our organization is by aligning HR processes and policies with the business strategy using workforce planning. The element include data protections, employee assistance, employee benefits, career development and upskilling programs. The result is an improved employee retention rate which positively impact the company growth. Then our next benefit is driving talent investment. So strategic workforce outline areas that need extra resources to reach their full potential. On the same line, to contribute more to business, it helps to determine groups of employees who deliver the highest return on investment. We can then invest in their training and development. Going a step ahead, we get informed about the role important for the growth of business so that we can implement steps to protect them to minimize the risk of attrition. Then next benefit is to identify the talent gap. So when a workforce strategy and business goals are aligned, we can easily identify the existing gaps the workforce would benefit from. Also, we can detect hires needed for the future when the company reaches a point of expansion. So our last benefit will be the implementing a retention strategy. So the organization need to follow the retention strategy so that they can retain the talents of the organization for a longer run. So for that, they need to plan the compensation accordingly. So now we have the cycle of the workforce planning. So the first step is to set the strategic directions and headcount budget. The second step of the workforce planning, that it analyzes the workforce, it identifies the skill gaps and conduct the workforce planning analysis. So according to our the directions and the actual workforce analysis, existing workforce analysis, they develop a plan in the third step. Then in the fourth step, the plan which we have developed in the third step is executed, that is implemented. Then the last step is that we monitor and evaluate the actions that is being taken. Okay, so now we will try to understand the theory portion which we have seen right now with the help of headcount planning. So here we can see that. So here we have an example with us where we have the headcount. We are planning the headcount. So here we have a total number of headcount that we are planning for in a department is 10. Then the average salary that is being paid is a $10,000, and the employee benefit that are being given is a 20%. So it is being assumed that the salary grade of the headcount here is the same. For example, we are taking it as a grade 1 salary. Okay, so here we are calculating the salaries. So this we are calculating on the by multiplying headcounts and their average salaries. Then in the second step, we see that the miscellaneous employee expenses are being calculated, which is basically on the basis of average salary and employee benefit percent. So after multiplying salaries with the employee benefit percent, we are getting 20,000 as miscellaneous employee expenses. So this is how this is a basic example how we plan for headcounts in an organization. Then we will see that here we have the account is 5800 salaries. Okay, so here we can see in the image down a little in the bottom that the salary here is calculated is exactly the same, 100 that is $1 lakh, and the miscellaneous employee expenses is $20,000 here. Okay, so these values which is 1,20,000 for each month is being rolled up to the parent member, and the parent member here is the operating expense. Okay, so we can see that it has impacted our net income by $1,20,000 per month, and on a year total basis it is impacting is 14,40,000. Okay, so here comes the so our net income is negative here by $1,200 every month. So we can see its impact on the balance sheet. Here we can see that the retained earning is impacted with it, is getting impact of a negative balance, that is a loss, is being shown here as $1,20,000. Okay, so basically we can understand with the help of this diagram that how they are how the expenditure is impacting our balance sheet and our income statement, that is net income. So this was a small example of headcount planning. Now we will move forward to the compensation planning. So the compensation planning is the process of defining and implementing the strategies that will be used to attract, motivate, and retain talent in an organization. So the components of employee compensations are base salary or wages that we calculate on the basis of the grading of the jobs. Then we have the bonus and incentives, which is basically depending upon their performances. Then comes the benefits, the additional benefits and earnings that the employees are getting in the monetary terms. Then comes the equity. So equity means they are getting the ESOPs, like for which they are working. If the so the equity, the policies of the policies of equity depends upon depends from company to company, means it varies from organization to organization. Okay, some have the policy that the equity is given to the equity ESOP option is given to the employee only after serving for a certain period of year, that is it can be 5 years, 10 years. So this is how it happens. Then comes the perks. So the perks are the benefits that are given to the employees. It can be like we can see, mm, like the servants are given, the cars facilities are given to the employees, so all these are categorized under the perks. Okay, so now we will see, understand the compensation planning. So here we have a compensation planning of a single employee. So let us see first how we are calculating the compensation of an employee. So let us assume that the employee is a grade 1 employee and its salary here is 50,000, which is a basic salary. Okay, so here I am mentioning it as basic salary. Then comes the car allowance. Okay, so here we have calculated car allowances on the basis of the basic salary. Okay, so here we are taking the car allowances as 5%. Then comes the accommodation allowances, which is being calculated at the rate of 10% of basic salary, followed by the responsibility allowances. Okay, so they both have the similar rate, that is the 10% of basic salary. Then comes the medical coverage. So the medical coverage is being paid to the employee at the rate of 15% of the overall pay. So here the overall pay consists of the basic salary, car allowances, accommodation allowances, and the responsibility allowances given to the employee. Then comes the staff provident fund. So the staff provident fund is basically 12% of overall pay. Similarly, we are calculating the staff provident fund on the basic salary plus car allowances, accommodation allowances, and responsibility allowances. So here let me show you the formula. So we can see that here the staff provident fund is calculated on the basis of the total of these heads. Okay, then comes lastly our payroll taxes. So the payroll taxes here is being calculated at the rate of 20% of the taxable pay. So here the taxable pay does not include the medical coverage. Okay, so let me show you how it is being calculated. So here we can see that we have taken the sum of all the expenditures, employee expenses, and we have subtracted that from the medical coverage, as we are excluding it from the calculation of the payroll taxes, and which is further multiplied with 20%. Okay, so this is how we are calculating the payroll taxes. So this was basically the compensation planning of a single employee. Now we will see, like for example, this is an example of a department. Okay, so here we see that we have uh, we have the job grade here. Oh, sorry. So here we can see that the job grade is a 1 and their basic salary is being calculated here. Then comes the transport allowances. So according to the grading of, according to the job grades, the transport allowances, accommodation allowances and responsibility allowances varies. Okay. So this is the basic example of a department of how the compensation is being planned, how it is being calculated for the entire department. So here we can see that we are calculating the salary, that is basic transport allowance, accommodation allowances and responsibility allowances for multiple employees. This calculation is not for a single employee. So this is an example of how it is being, how the overall compensation plan is being created. Okay, so now we will move forward. Now we will move forward to the instance. Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, so now here we are on our instance here, and now we will have a walkthrough of the application, a custom workforce application that we have created here. So for that I will take you to the overview here, and I will take you to the cubes. So here basically we have plan 1 cube and custom workforce, custom WFP cube. So plan 1 cube is a BSO cube in which we give the inputs, and the CUST WFP is an ASO cube, okay, which gives the reports. So now I will click on the plan 1. So here we have the dimension as account dimension, currency dimension, employee, entity, grade, HSP underscore view, job, period, property, scenario, union code, version and years. Okay, now we will understand the dimensions in more details, and here we also have CUST WFP as ASO cube. Okay. Now we will go to the dimension by clicking on the navigator, and then in create and manage option I will be selecting dimensions. So here I have the account dimension first. So the account dimension basically provide us the assumptions, okay, and the expenses heads we have all in the account dimension. So the workforce planning assumptions consist of the employee properties, employee demographics, compensation assumptions, total headcount, total FTE, and so on. Then comes the workforce expenses. So the workforce expenses consist of the compensation, in which when we will further expand it, we will be having total salary, total benefits. Okay, so the total salary consists of the basic salary, merits, transferred salary. Then comes the total benefits here. So here we have the transport allowance, accommodation allowance, responsibility allowance in our application, and we can add more allowances as per the requirements. Similarly, we have earnings, and then we will be having the taxes. So in earnings we can see that we have the pension contribution, pension contribution staff, medical contribution, maternity leave funds, provident fund, compensatory pension, And here we have, next we have the taxes. So we have here federal income tax, state income tax, social security deductions, Medicare deductions. Okay, and on the basis of this the net salary is being calculated. We also have another head, that is non compensation expense, which consists of training expenses, and it can also include the recruitment expense as well. So this was all about the account dimension, which is a default dimension in an application. Then comes the currency dimension. So when we create our application, we need to enable the multi-currency option while creating the application. So this will lead to a new creation of a new dimension, that is currency. Okay, so in currency we will be having the input currencies and the reporting currencies. So input currencies, here we have the Rwanda franc and the USD. Okay, and the reporting currency here is the Rwanda franc. Then comes the employee dimension, which is a custom dimension. So in the employee dimension we will have total employees, and when we expand it we will be having existing employees and new employees. So here we have the details and the name of the existing employees here. Okay, now we in the new employee, here we can add the hiring requisition. Okay, that we will understand in detail while while creating a hiring requisition in the coming session. Then comes the entity. So here entity is a default dimension, and here we will be having the entity as total entity and its holding company, subsidiary company. Okay, then comes the grade dimension, which is a custom dimension. So here I have created a grade dimension in which we will be having the grade from 1 to 10. These grades are actually helpful in while calculating the salaries of the employees. Okay, so grade is basically interlinked with the job. Then comes the higher education degree. So although these higher education degree skill sets, etc., these are all the dimensions which do not have any impact on the which are non-financial datas, which are non-financial members. However, these are all helpful in keeping the records of the employees. So here we will be giving the higher education degree to each and to all the employees in the organization for the better record maintenance. So here we have the HSP View Dimension. This dimension is created when we enable sandbox while creating the application. So here this is the HSP View Dimension consists of consolidated data member, database, and sandbox data. We cannot edit any member into the HSP View Dimension. This is non-editable. Then comes the job dimension, which is a custom dimension in which we specify the jobs in which means in the organization which all jobs we have, and we call it as designations which we have in an organization. So here we can see that we have accountant, then accounting director, accounting manager, administrative assistant, analyst, and so on are the jobs which are available. Then comes the period, which is a default dimension. In this we will be having the beginning balance and the year total. When we expand it further, we will be having we will be having the data on the we will be having quarters 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4 as members. And after expanding it further, we will see that we have the months in it in each and every quarter. As we can see that in first quarter we have January, February, March. In the second quarter we have April, May, June, and so on. Then comes the property dimension. So the property dimension primarily gives a, it is a background dimension used in the calculation. So this is helpful in calculating the compensations and tenures of the employees. Okay, so this is the property dimension. Then comes the scenario. So in the scenario, this is the default dimension, as we know. It consists of planning, that plan, actual, forecast. Okay, so the actual is the historical data that we have with us, and the planning and forecasting are related to the future datas. Then comes the variances. Okay, so in the, when we further expand variances, we can see that we have variance actual versus plan, variance actual versus forecast, so and so on. So the variance member, each and every member in the variance are associated with the member formula to calculate the to calculate the variances of the actual data and its percentage changes. These are all helpful in analyzing the data. Then comes the skill set. So the skill set, here we have no skill set. Then comes the total skill set. Here we have the account management, analytics, AutoCAD, automation. So these are the skills. These are the skills available with us. Why do we maintain the skill set? This is helpful in maintaining the record of an individual employee with their skill, and this helps in transfer. This is further helpful in transferring the employee according to their skills from one department to another department, or from one entity to the other entity. Then comes the union code. So the union code is a dimension which is helpful in uh, basically in calculating the compensation. This we will understand in a better way while calculating the compensation. Then comes the version dimension, which is a default dimension. Okay, so here we have the member as final, base, what if, then working. Okay, and we can see one more member here as sandboxes. So sandbox member is visible in the version dimension when we enable sandboxes while creating the application. So here we can enable sandbox by clicking on the member, and then I will go to edit and enable the sandbox on that particular member, and after that I will save it. Okay, so here we can see that under the sandbox we are having another new member now as sandboxes underscore base. Okay, this is how we enable sandboxes. So basically what sandbox do is, it is helpful to us, means it gives us a personal space for the calculation, for our planning and forecasting, etc. Okay, so only the admin can view the data. Rest no other member can interfere in any other workspace. Then lastly we have the year dimension. So here in this application we have the year as FY22, FY23. Okay, we can add the member, where we can add the year by clicking on this plus sign, and here I need to just mention the that how many years I want to add in the application. Like for example, I want to add only 1 year, so I will then click on OK, and I will then click on yes. Okay, so here we can see that we have another member named FY29. Okay, so this is how we can add the member into the application. For now I'm deleting it. Okay, so this was all about the dimensions in the application. Now we will move ahead, and we will see how we can load the metadata in the application. So the first method of loading the metadata we will first see here is via smart view. Okay, So here I will be then first creating a smart view connection. So okay, so I will go to smart view panel. Here I have already created a connection named as CUST okay. So here I want to add two members in the job dimension here. So what I will do is I will right click on the job dimension and then I will click on edit dimension here. Okay, I will clear the sheet first of all, okay, so that it will be easy for you to understand what exactly we are doing in it. Okay, my smart view is little bit slower, so it will take some time. Okay, so here we have the job. We will further expand the total job in which we are going to add two members named as webmaster and tester. Okay, so what I will do is I will just mention the name here. Just a minute. Okay, so here I'm going to copy it. That will be easy for me to work on it. So here I am going to add the name as webmaster, and here I will mention the name as tester. Okay, so here we have the default storage properties. So I want to keep it as a store only. I don't want to change the properties here, but we can change as per our own requirement. Okay, so now what I will do is, and the data type here is unspecified. It's okay. After making the changes into it, I will be then right clicking on the dimension and then refresh the database. So I will first click on the database and then I will refresh it. Okay, so here I have added a member. Now I will go to our instance and we will check whether the member is visible to us here or not. So I will go to the job dimension. Here I will select the cube as plan 1 and then I will click on okay. So here we cannot view it. Wait, let me refresh the database once more. Okay, so the changes that we made is not visible to us. Okay, so what I will do here is first I will go to the store. I will then submit the data. Okay, now I will again go to the refresh database and then refresh it. After refreshing the database, I will again go to the application. Okay, then here still not visible to us. Let me check with the name. Hmm. Okay, when this is visible to us in this. See, webmaster, a member is being added now, named as webmaster and tester, and it is visible to us in the application. Okay, so I will enlarge it little bit so that it will be visible to you all. Okay, so this is how we add the metadata using a smart view. Now we will further move forward, and we will understand how we load metadata using data management. Okay, so here this is our data sheet, metadata sheet, sorry. Okay, so here we have the entity. In the first column we have the entity. First let me open a notepad. So in our first column, which will be termed as field number 1, we have the entity. In the second column, which is termed as the parent. Okay, so here we can see that the parent member is visible to us in the second column. So the parent member of Kigley is the holding company. The parent member of South Province is holding company. For Nyanza, it is Southern Province. Okay, so after that we have the storage property. So the third column consists of the storage property. Okay, so I will mention it as the storage property. And the last column is the base currency. Base currency. Okay, after mentioning this, now I will take you to the data management. So here our source file type, source system, we are going to select the file, which is a flat file. Okay, then we will be creating a target application. So here we have already created a target application, and it is named as dim underscore custwfp entity. Okay, so how we can add the application here? By clicking on this plus sign, then I will select the dimension. After selecting the dimension, I will mention the prefix. Okay, so this is how we add the target application. When we are in the need to load the metadata in the dimension, so here we will be selecting the dimensions. Okay, so here for example I want to load the metadata and of entity dimension, so I will select here entity. Okay, so after selecting the entity, we can see that here we have selected the base currency. Okay, then comes the data storage, then comes the is entity, and lastly we have the parent. So these all members, these all details we have in our metadata sheet. Okay, which is a CSV data, which is a CSV file, as it is visible. Okay, after giving the application details, now we will go to the import format. So here I have created an import format named as IMF underscore entity. So in the IMF underscore entity, we can see the source file is the file. The target application here is dim underscore custom WFP entity. It is a comma delimiter, as I have shown you that it is a CSV file. Okay, and the file type here will be delimited all data type, as it is a metadata sheet. Now we have already done the mapping in the import format, as I will show you with the help of this. So we can see that our base currencies field number is 4, as we have seen in the metadata file, in the metadata CSV file. Then the data storage is 3, field number is 3. Then the entity field number is 1, and lastly the parent field number is 2. So this is how we map the source column and its field number, okay, with the target application. After mapping it, we will save the changes that we have made in the import format. Then we will move to the location. So in the location, we can see that we have already created a location named LOC_entity. Okay, so here after creating the location, we just need to click on the search icon, and we will be getting the name of the import format here. So here I have already selected IMF_entity. Okay, after selecting the import format, we will automatically get the source system and the target application. Okay, so after making such changes in the location, we will then click on save. Then we will go to the workflow. Here I will then click on data load mapping. So first of all, I will select the correct location here. So here LOC_entity is our location. Okay, so let the location be December 26 and its category is current. Okay, after that we can see that here we have mapped the data as we have done the like mapping. Okay, so I will click on the like. Okay, after that I will click on this add sign, and then we will map the data here from the source value and target value. So both will be the so it will be a like mapping. After that I will select data storage, then entity, and then the parent. So we are already done with the data load mapping here. Then we will go to data load rules. So here I will click on this plus sign and will add a data load rule. So I will name it as DLR_and entity 1, and the category is current, and here the import format will be IMF_entity. Then I will select the file here, which is named as entity_metadata DM. So we do not have this file in it. So what I will do is I will then click on upload, then choose the file here. I will go to the document. Okay, I will locate my file first. Okay. I will then open the file here. Okay, and then I will click on OK. Let me check where is my file. So here we have entity underscore metadata. After selecting my file, I will click on OK. Okay, then I will save the changes that I have made. Then I will click on execute. Oh wait, then I will click on execute. Then I will be importing the, okay, after that I will click on run. After that I will refresh the database. So our import, I will go to the data load workbench. Okay, so our metadata is successfully imported and validated. Now I will go to export. I will then click on OK. So here we have got the export fish as well. So basically, while loading the metadata, we need to get 3 fishes, so the which is visible to us. Now I will go to the application, uh, and I will go to the entity metadata. So here we have total entity. In total entity, we will be having holding company. When we will further expand it, we will be having Kigli. Then in the South Province, we will be having Nyanza, Hue, North Province. Okay, so here we have all the metadata available to us in the entity dimensions now. Okay, so this is how we load the metadata using data management. So that's all for today. We will further continue our custom workforce planning tomorrow. For any more queries, please feel free to ask.